I've been collecting Ryobi power tools, mostly because they're cheap and plentiful. The batteries are cheap and plentiful, they're convenient. I'm using these mostly for homeowner renovations, not for professional work, although I will say I haven't had any of these break on me. I seem to be accumulating more. As I buy sets, I end up with a lot more drills than I need, obviously. So they are not breaking on me, even though I've been beating them up pretty good. This one here I used to cut a pair of 12 gauge steel oil tanks. It cut right through them, no problem, especially when I use the bigger size of the battery. Seems to be able to put out power faster or maintain its voltage. You can get a 4 amp hour battery. I think this is a 2.5 amp hour battery, but you can get a 4 that's the same size, more modern. These are just a little bit of the cheaper, older version. You got 3/8 chucks drills. You got a 1/2 inch. This is the newer version of the 1/2 inch. Got an LED on it. Not much difference between the between these drills. I did notice that some of the 1/2 inch drills, they have a more aggressive break. This one has a good break, but it's not as loud for some reason. You've got 1/4 inch impact drivers, unbelievably useful. You can drive a 3-inch screw with this thing like up over your head at an awkward angle, no problem. Very good on battery life. You won't torque your wrist like you would if you tried to do it with a drill. It just zips them home. It's just wonderful. If you've never worked with an impact driver, highly recommended. It's also really convenient, that these have a 1/4 inch quick release, so you can switch between bits easily. You can use quick release drill bits in addition to drivers. You got nut setting bits. Unbelievably useful. You can even adapt these to put sockets on there to bust loose like really stubborn bolts. Nothing too large, obviously. These things won't handle a large bolt. There's actually another tool that's designed for breaking loose the bigger ones, but this is more designed towards drilling and driving screws. Got a hammer drill and a rotary hammer. These both do the same job, which basically they'll punch a hole in concrete if you use a masonry bit. The rotary hammer does the job faster, but this one will do the job, there's no doubt. This is more of a multi-purpose. If you're going to be making a portable kit, this will do the job. You can secure things to concrete on the floor or on the wall, and it'll hold a lot of weight. And it's very easy, it's very fast. You zip a hole and put a plastic anchor in it of the right size, and then put a screw right into that anchor, and it'll hold amazing amount of weight. And you can unscrew it and rescrew it as needed when you use a plastic anchor. You can also just use a simple hole and put a Tapcon screw in, but that's kind of, if I understand it correctly, that's kind of a one-shot deal. You got to put that screw in there and leave it alone. If you take it out, you're not going to have quite as tight of a grab the next time, if I understand correctly. I do use Tapcons from time to time. When I put basement windows in, I'll screw in through the side of the window into the concrete with a Tapcon to give it some extra strength. And they work great. You can even buy them in little packages at Walmart if you just need a few little Tapcon screws for work that homeowners need to do. These older circular saws will come to life if you put a lithium battery in it. Originally these come with NiCads. You put a nice new lithium battery in it, this thing turns into a powerhouse. It's a nice difference. Convenient. Sometimes it's convenient to have a saw to get into certain places where you just can't get with other saws. I think that one has a little bit of a laser guide on it, which is nice. This is a newer version. Basically, it's the same exact thing, just has a laser guide and a different color, but it's essentially the same tool as that. It's essentially the same motor. Maybe you have some slight improvements in performance. Nothing like you would if you stepped up to a brushless motor. Those are a lot more efficient and can be made to be more powerful than these. These are not brushless, but the difference is you're looking at maybe $15, $10, $20. If you go get a brushless, you're talking hundreds of dollars. And the same goes for drills and impact drivers and everything else. These tools are all $10, $20 a piece, whereas a brand new brushless unit you might pay over $100 just for one unit. So these things are kind of almost disposable compared to that. These are really useful tools. You got a cutoff wheel and a grinding wheel. I only paid $20 for these. They come, missing their guards. It's really dangerous if you don't have a guard on a tool like this. It throws crazy amounts of sparks. It rotates at a high speed, so that if you got if you got into this, it would go to the bone almost instantly. So you really got to be careful if you're going to use these without a guard. A lot of people prefer to work with them without a guard. I don't mind it, but you just have to be extra careful and extra aware of those. Love these tools. They get into places where other tools might not get into. When I was cutting apart the oil tanks, I definitely noticed that trying to cut it with this versus that, this one wins hands down. So if you can get into the space and use a mechanical way of cutting mechanically as opposed to sort of burning your way through, it's a lot more efficient. But in some situations, this is the way to go. Depends on also maybe the angle that you need to get in there. One of the tools I don't have that I kind of wish I had is a multi-tool, where you can get into certain areas with a multi-tool that you can't get in with this. Because of this right here, this protrusion right here is going to stop you from getting flush to the ground in certain situations where a multi-tool could get in there. And Ryobi does make one. I just haven't got my hands on one yet. This is an inflator. This is a really handy tool. Having a portable, powerful deflator or inflator. So it's digital. You can choose the PSI that you want and just set it and walk away. When it reaches the PSI, it'll shut itself off. You can do high speed or low speed. You can inflate tires, basketballs, well tanks, and mattresses. It's just unbelievably useful tool to have and for it to be portable and to be accessible and handy.